You want to know where the affordable parts are? Well, Intel might have you covered. Apple covering their own butts by not being butts, and Nvidia decides that AMD's announcements yesterday, pish posh, we got better stuff. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're going to be going over the hottest tech news that I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast before we start moving all of this over to another channel, which talk about that later, okay? But let's talk about Intel right now and how they have the upcoming CPUs that can make everything pricing really nice, all right? Especially since there's preliminary benchmarks coming out about the 12400F CPU, which is showing that it's actually really competitive with the 5600X. And considering the fact that the 12600K is already priced pretty well comparatively to the 5600X, this one's supposed to be in the $200 region. And you can see here in the different benchmarks that they've done in just synthetic workloads such as CPU-Z in both single-threaded and multi-threaded, as well as in Cinebench R23, the 12400F is performing quite admirably in a lot of different tasks. So if it comes anywhere near where the previous generation pricing was, that means we could be looking at a $150 competitor to AMD's current 5600X, which is vastly overpriced ever since its initial launch by a lot of people's measurements. So in case you're looking for affordable stuff, Intel might have you covered. This has 6 performance cores, no efficiency cores, and seems to just be a really good chip for a really good amount of money. And that's something, honestly, I think we haven't been giving Intel enough credit for over these past 1 or 2 generations. While AMD's been content releasing Ryzen 5 and above, the lowest end chip we got from them this generation was the 5600G. Intel has constantly been putting out the lower end stuff and making sure, number 1, that it's affordable, but then number 2, it's also actually available. While people might want to clown on them for having 14 nanometer plus, those pluses made things super affordable so that you were actually getting in a 10100 the same exact performance that you were getting from an i7-7700 previous generations for only $100. What does AMD currently have for only $100? Absolutely nothing. And there's more indication that Intel could get cheaper than the 12400F, some release pricing on potentially even a 12100F that could be coming in to look at $120 price point, 4 performance cores, 8 threads. That could hopefully be better than that 7700, as I mentioned. Maybe even beating the 7700K at max overclock would be really great for the entry-level chip that Intel's releasing. I think this is something that AMD is not paying enough attention to, neither is Nvidia. It does seem like Intel's really one of the very few companies that's continuing to release stuff on the budget side of things and still have them available. What do you think of the lower end Alder Lake chips? I want to hear from you down below in the comments. And we're hearing some rumblings, some rumors, some indications that Rockstar Games might be having a very busy GTA season. This year we're getting the GTA Trilogy Remaster, and it looks like we might be getting a GTA 4 Remaster in 2023. A well-known leaker coming out showing that there is a potential GTA 4 Remaster bundled with Liberty City Stories, and that might actually be happening. Whether or not that's worth the wait for GTA 6. I mean, we're getting GTA 5 Enhanced Edition next year. Bam, we wham, look at that game that came out in 2013. GTA 5 release date. Hot dog, 2013. Decade later, still going strong. Hopefully they could tide you over the GTA 4 remaster. And hopefully Comcast could tide people over by them not having internet. There was a major outage yesterday in a wide swath of regions such as Chicago, Philly, New Jersey, San Francisco, and including people in our Discord who live out in Indy saying, hey, we don't have internet either, which makes me so glad that I did not pick up Xfinity here, even though I've had my shared troubles with Fios, but that's just because like people have been driving into utility poles. But yeah, I'm now very happy with my decision to not go with Comcast. And are you happy with your decision to not buy Bitcoin back in 2013? Well, you probably aren't. So let's get into the Cryptostonks update. Bitcoin sliding just a little bit, just a teensy little down to $67,118, which was its previous all-time high yesterday. I mean, this is higher than anyways. Crazy numbers from Bitcoin. Ethereum down 1.23% to 47.37, and Dogecoin also slipped sliding down to 27.4 cents. Covering the meme stonks for a second, GameStop also dropping a little bit, down 5.5% on the day to close at 206.60. AMC down 11%. It just seems like these meme stonks just have this flip flop, flippity flappity flippy, like it's based on absolutely no fundamentals and it's just a fart in the wind. in that's going to determine the pricing structure on the day, which I don't know if that's accurate, but you know, it's an accurate thing. And tweeting, some could liken it to farting in the wind, and Twitter wants you to pay for that privilege, especially if you want to undo that fart. You want to suck that one back in. Twitter Blue might be the way to go because it's now rolling out to the US and New Zealand with a $2.99 per month feature, which can unlock additional functionality. Like you could say, hey, I don't want that tweet out there. Rescind it. I take it back. How is this any different than deleting a tweet that was like already out there? Not 100% sure, but you also get ad-free articles, a thread viewer, bookmark folders, app icons, upload longer videos, top articles, custom navigation, app theme, and pinned conversations. Do you think this is worth $2.99? Let me know down in the comments. I know that my farts in the wind are not getting paid for that amount whatsoever. You know, there's that phrase, never trust a fart, because, you know, it might end up being a little dookie. Well, a little dookie is what Apple done with the iPhone 13 screen repairs, because there's a little chip with the phone that if you replace the screen, the chip no longer communicates with Face ID, and you can't use Face ID after one of the most common repair things that happens on a gosh dang phone. Apple, obviously, for many years, not being a very good advocate of third-party and independent repair shops, kind of actually being crappy. That's one of the big like antagonists in this whole right to repair situation. They are finally backing. Oh, my wrist! They're finally backing down and making so that when third-party repair companies are actually able to replace the screen, that they won't brick Face ID, which is an absolute trash thing that they possibly could have done. Apple telling The Verge that this will be rolling out and making it so that it could happen. Official first-party repair places have a little thing that helps them to flash the software so that it doesn't have to worry about that chip anymore. So it seems like third-party places might be getting that, but Apple telling The Verge that they don't have a date on when this software update will arrive that will actually allow third-party repair companies to do this kind of stuff. So just, I mean, hopefully Apple comes through. I guess it's good that they're addressing that it's a dumbass thing for them to do, but let's see if they actually put the money where their mouth is and roll that actually out. Actually, speaking of no duh features that should just be commonplace, Peloton finally getting a pause button for their classes, which is just one of the weirdest things that they could have not included. It's not like all of their classes are live classes when you're riding on the spin bike. And now in 2021, after their launch many moons ago, you can now pause the workout, which just, how do you, I mean, I'm just, what? They're also releasing a $500 camera that teaches you how to work out in your living room, which I absolutely understand, like this idea of like correcting form and making sure that you have good workout posture and all of that kind of stuff, and just kind of the interactability that could happen. But it's a $500 webcam, and you still have to pay for the monthly classes that come with Peloton. $500, which is how much apparently these things cost, where people stare at you working out, or they use some sort of algorithm to tell you that your spine's out of whack. Yeah, I know my spine's out of whack, okay? I've been carrying all these noobs in the league. And is the universe out of whack? Because Firefox is now making its debut on Microsoft's Windows Store, something that you'd think only Edge would ever be on. Mozilla now getting the approval of Firefox. You can pick it up on the Windows Store in case you want to, instead of just downloading it from, you know, their website. But you know what you wouldn't download? A GPU, all right? You wouldn't download a car, you wouldn't download money. I would absolutely do all of those things. I would totally do it. Why did that ad have to sound so cool? You wouldn't download a car. Hell yeah, I would. Do you know how expensive cars were? If I could download and zip around, that would be the most amazing future. That's exactly what I want. Anti-piracy ad. Anyways, Nvidia is now trying to give all of their high-end commercial and compute customers exactly what they wanted with their Quantum 2 InfiniBand GPU, which is going to have 57 billion transistors and have 400 gigabits per second of connection. It's going to consist of that Quantum 2 switch, the Connect-X network adapter, and the Bluefield 3 data processing unit to make a supercomputer center that just have all of the interconnectedness that it absolutely wants. They also unveiled the little AI brain that you can get in the Jetson AGX, not Xavier now, it's going to be called the Orin, which is a small little chip that can fit in the palm of your hand, but is capable of doing AI tasks up to 200 trillion operations per second. No word on pricing or release date at this point, but they're going to be talking more about it during their GTC event that's currently happening. Nvidia also showing off a really intriguing use case for their AI, which is able to generate facial synthesis and speech from basically nothing. A single photo could be rendered out in an entire video, and then also using a vocal training segment to make it so that they have a completely AI generated speaker. As you can see here, this was generated from a single picture of a face, and it's really intriguing how they pulled it off. And they also turned Jensen into a stop motion puppet from the Rankin Bass Christmas specials so that you could see him interacting with people and talking with people with AI generated synthesized voice, as well as obviously he's a stop motion puppet. And am I a stop motion puppet? Well, I'm gonna stop the motion of this episode of Hot News. Don't forget, as I talked about yesterday, Hot News will be transitioning away from this channel onto the main UFD Tech channel for reasons that will be disclosed on the UFD Tech video towards the end of the week. Somebody said in the comments yesterday, why would you do this? You just built a whole new set just a couple months ago, which the set's coming with. I'm not moving. We're gonna do the videos on a different channel. This stays. Nothing's different. Like, the content's the same. It's just different channel. Anyways, we'll talk about more of that later on this week. I bid you breakfast.